Anno Hideaki. If you are not a filthy weeb of any capacity, that might not be a name that rings any bells, but you most likely have heard of at least one of his creations. Because he's probably one of the most renowned, successful, infamous, there's lots of ways that you can describe him, creators in the Japanese anime field. Doing everything from TV series to live action, but his most famous creation is an anime series by the name of Neon Genesis Evangelion. Now, it shouldn't be a surprise to anyone who is a viewer of mine. I love me my Ava. I did a whole video where I showed off all of the amazing Ava drip that I bought. That's how much I love the Evangelion series. So when my friend notified me that there was going to be an entire exhibition for Anno Hideaki's stuff, I obviously had to go. I love going to all sorts of anime exhibits, but I think this might be the first time that I've ever seen or been to an exhibit that focuses more around a single creator. I went to the Berserk exhibit earlier in the year, which I've also made a vlog of, so go check that out, which was fucking amazing. But that was just one series, and while Anno is mostly known for his work on Neon Genesis Evangelion, he's actually done a lot of stuff in both inside and outside the anime field. And I guess this exhibit was just a great breakdown of his life, basically. Not only his career making live action and anime, but also just how someone like that was even born and raised. And obviously the first thing that we came across in the exhibit was pretty much the beginnings of his life, all of his inspirations, if you will. And if you are familiar with any of Anno Hideaki's works, then you would know that two biggest inspirations is robot anime and tokusatsu. Obviously, Neon Genesis Evangelion now probably being one of the biggest robot anime series out there, the inspiration had to come from somewhere. But tokusatsu might be one that not a lot of people are familiar with. Basically, things like Kamen Rider, Ultraman, and the Godzilla movies are just some of the more notable tokusatsu. And I guess it makes a lot of sense because after the success of Evangelion, he went on to create basically all three of those and direct all three of them in his own movies, with Shin Kamen Rider yet to come out as of the recording of this video. And I guess as someone who is in the field of creating stuff and who would like to, you know, eventually maybe move on to that kind of fictional creation, fictional stories and stuff like that, it was just a really great starting point on trying to figure out how the minds of some of the greatest creators in Japan actually work and develop. And it was great as well because not only could you see the progression of how Anno Hideaki, the current Anno Hideaki, came to be, but it was also really cool just to see the processes of the amount of effort he had to put in to build his way up into the industry. Because for those of you who don't know, before Neon Genesis Evangelion, he not only directed a bunch of his own smaller, lesser known TV series, but even before that, he just started off as an in-between animator, making short animated segments of some of the biggest mecha shows out there. And even way before that, he had his own animations, tiny animation studio, which the production quality of it at the time was so fucking insane that it just couldn't avoid the eyes and attention of the then heads of the anime industry. And of course, we got to see all of that. Now, unfortunately, I'm just showing you pictures right now of what was happening because, you know, like a lot of Japanese exhibitions, you're not really allowed to take a lot of videos in there. It was actually kind of miraculous that I was even able to take photos at all because I guarantee some of the shit you're seeing right now is probably stuff that has never been shown outside of maybe a couple of people that were around Anno Hideaki at the time. So I guess that was like kind of cool that they even were allowed to take photos in there, because I've been to a lot of exhibits where it was like no phones, bro. But you know, I'm not even gonna pretend when I say that the coolest thing for me personally was the entire portion of the Evangelion side of things. I mean, that's how I personally came to know Anno Hideaki. I found out about all of the stuff they did before that after I became a fan of Evangelion, and I think the general public, or I guess the majority of people probably watching this video, were also the same way. Unless you're like a super old head who started off with, you know, maybe the Nadia series or something. And as you can see in these photos, not only did we get to see like really old sketches and concept art of some of the early builds of not only the TV series, but the movies, including Death and Rebirth, End of Evangelion, and the new 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, and 4.0 movies. But I think the coolest thing was these beta sketches of what the Evangelion might have looked like. Some of these sketches and some of these, especially color combinations I saw, were just so bizarre because I think we're just so familiar with what the Eva looks like. I think this early sketch of it being in a black coloration might have been really, really cool, but again, it's just so hard to imagine because the current purple and green combination of the Eva Shogoki was just like, it's so ingrained in our minds, and it's kind of insane when I thought about it. Anno Hideaki not only made one of the most distinctly like recognizable robots in all of anime, but also managed to like trademark a color combination. I mean, there are so many Evangelion collabs that are happening since the release of 4.0 especially. Like, if something has that really distinct shade of purple and green, most people, even if you're not exactly a massive anime fan, most people will instantly recognize that as Evangelion. And I think that's kind of insane. Like, the brand power and the staying power of the fact that you have trademarked essentially a color. But of course, it wasn't all just Evangelion. Even though the title of this video is the Evangelion exhibit, there were a whole bunch of other amazing exhibits that were shown. The models that they used for Shin Godzilla were just like so freaking cool. And just like the Ultraman models and like the battleship, like the Uchu Senkan Yamato models that Anno Hideaki owned and were like heavily inspired by as a child, were just really, really cool to see. And my friend and I just definitely geeked the fuck out. Let's just say if I wanted to impress a lady, that's not the first place I would take them to. But like any exhibit, there was also a merch section, and you know, your boy had to buy something because you got this lovely bag as well. I like how they modeled the bag like an Eva black screen. I know, like, I bought a lot of cool stuff at the Berserk exhibit, but the Anno Hideaki exhibit, there wasn't exactly like an amazing variety of things, but I did at least manage to get this Evangelion Genga collection, just because, again, it's Eva. As someone who is super into anime and the whole animation process and stuff like that, this is just so freaking cool. I mean, you don't even have to be into animation to know that this is some absolutely dope stuff. And I guess the best thing about going to the Anno Hideaki exhibit was just the amount of inspiration I managed to get. Like, a lot of people probably think that Anno Hideaki is just one of those just geniuses, you know, just natural born geniuses. And I'm sure there is some God-given talent at birth, but I think what the exhibit really showed to me personally was just how much of a grind Anno Hideaki had to get on to get to where he is today. Because in every aspect of his career, from what I saw in this exhibit, was just full of trial and error, full of failures, and full of, I guess, learning from mistakes and failures, and just getting really experimental with not just the medium that he was having to deal in, but also getting really experimental with the creation process of everything that he makes as well. Really pushing the boundaries of where the social and, I guess, the current societal norm was at the time with things like animation and live action. I really do think that he really was ahead of his time in a lot of ways, and just, you know, again, the fact that something like Neon Genesis Evangelion, an almost 30-year-old series at this time, is still talked about to this day, still highly regarded to this day, and still crowned by many as probably one of the greatest anime series ever created. That shit ain't easy, dude. I'm not gonna say that I strive to become like Anno Hideaki or anything like that, but I think there's definitely some aspects that anyone can take from his creation process, and I'm really glad that I went to this exhibit. So yeah, that was basically just like a story time of me at the Eva exhibit, Anno Hideaki exhibit. Let me know what you guys think about what I talked about, and hopefully if there's any more cool exhibits out there that I'm interested in, then I'd definitely like to go, because I've been to a lot so far, and they've all been fucking fantastic. But thanks for listening to my little rambling anecdote and video. Appreciate you guys. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and maybe smack my face right here to subscribe to the channel. Let's keep making big channel number go bigger. Over here next to my head is a couple more videos you can check out if you enjoyed this one, and you can follow your boy on all of his social media down in the description below. I might go and rewatch the end of Eva now, because I genuinely forgot how good of a movie that was until now. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace!